We are here at this beautiful museum, the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. I'm especially glad to be back hosting this event. It is truly one of the highlights of my year covering the great game of basketball, and it's great to see all your beautiful faces. Settle in, we're going to have a blast tonight. So let's get right to it. It's time to meet the newest members of the Hall of Fame family, the class of 2017. Our first inductee has been elected posthumously. This remarkable athlete grew up in Philadelphia. He became one of the all-time greatest players of the Black Fives era. He won 2 championships with the New York Rens and also starred for the Harlem Globetrotters. Elected to the class of 2017 by the Early African American Pioneers Committee, Zach Clayton. And tonight he is represented by his grandniece, Lauren Myers. This New Jersey native followed an outstanding collegiate career at Seton Hall with a truly historic run in Greece. He led Aris of Thessaloniki to 8 championships while leading the Greek A1 League and scoring a record 12 straight seasons. Named one of FIBA's 50 greatest players and an inaugural member of the FIBA Hall of Fame, he's been elected to the class of 2017 by the International Committee, Nick Gallus. This next gentleman dedicated his life to the world of high school basketball in Texas. He began coaching in 1958 during the segregation era in Fort Worth at I.M. Terrell School, where he coached for 16 years. At the end of segregation, he started coaching at Fort Worth Dunbar High School until his retirement in 2005. His teams reached the state championships an amazing 30 consecutive times, winning 5 state titles during that run. He would end his career with 1,333 wins, the most ever by a boys' high school basketball coach. Joining the class of 2017 as a coach, Robert Hughes. Born in a railroad boxcar, this gentleman was the first African-American basketball scholarship player at the University of Illinois. He played for the Harlem Globetrotters for 6 years before beginning a successful business career. He returned to his roots by purchasing the Globetrotters in 1993 and led the team to a remarkable resurgence both financially and culturally as he became the first African-American owner of a major sports and entertainment organization. A noted philanthropist, he has been elected to the class of 2017 as a contributor, Mannie Jackson. Indeed, this gentleman quietly dedicated his professional life to collegiate basketball. Working for the NCAA for 38 years, he played a pivotal role in turning March Madness into the global success it is today. He also served as the president of USA Basketball and was awarded the prestigious John Bunn Lifetime Achievement Award by the Hall of Fame in 2001. One of the game's most respected figures, he has been elected to the class of 2017 as a contributor, Tom Jernstedt. This gentleman will also be recognized posthumously. He was the architect of one of the greatest dynasties in NBA history, serving as the general manager and executive vice president of the Chicago Bulls. A scout at heart, this individual had a unique eye for talent, whether it was hiring Phil Jackson from the CBA or acquiring talented rookies like Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant in the 1987 draft. Krause would assemble a team around Michael Jordan to lead the Bulls to 6 world championships in an 8-year span. Twice named NBA Executive of the Year, he has been elected to the class of 2017 as a contributor, Jerry Krause. Representing her late husband, please welcome Thelma Krause. This Connecticut native set a state scoring record not too far from where we sit and stand right now in high school before joining Hall of Fame coach Gino Auriemma at the University of Connecticut, where she helped lead the Huskies to a perfect season and the national title in 1995, and she also won Naismith College Player of the Year that year. She then won Olympic gold in 1996 with USA Basketball in Atlanta, And with the birth of the WNBA in 1997, she became one of the faces of the new league and helped energize and excite millions of new fans while playing for the New York Liberty. She is now a very successful broadcaster, joining the class of 2017 as a contributor, Rebecca Lobo. That smile tells the whole story, doesn't it? That's awesome. During his time at Indiana University, he led the Big Ten in scoring and rebounding as a sophomore in 1971 and then embarked on his pro career. In his first 2 seasons, he helped lead the Indiana Pacers to back-to-back ABA championships, capturing the playoffs MVP award in 1973. 2 years later, he was named co-MVP along with Julius Erving. He was a 3-time ABA All-Star and a 3-time All-Star in the NBA, where he would join forces with Dr. J to lead the 76ers to the 1977 NBA Finals. During his pro career, he averaged over 20 points and 11 rebounds per game. Elected to the class of 2017 as a player by the Veterans Committee, George McGinnis. Next, after being named the USA Today High School Player of the Year in 1997, he was then drafted by the Toronto Raptors 9th overall in that year's draft. During his NBA career, he played in 7 All-Star games and was a 7-time All-NBA honoree. In 2003, and then again in 2004, he led the league in scoring. During his remarkable 15-year career, most notably with the Raptors, Magic, and Rockets, this versatile player averaged 19 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists per game. After the NBA, he became an All-Star in China. Why not? He's been named a member of the class of 2017 as a player, Tracy McGrady. She began her coaching career at Archbishop Carroll High School, and following stops as an assistant at St. Joseph's, and then 5 years as the head coach at Lehigh, she became the coach of the Notre Dame women's team. In 1987, a position she still holds today. With her at the helm, the Irish reached the NCAA tournament 24 times, including 15 trips to the Sweet 16 and 8 trips to the Elite 8. And in 2001, she coached Notre Dame to an NCAA championship. She has chalked up over 800 career victories, 5 Coach of the Year awards, and in the last 7 seasons, her athletes achieved a 100% graduation success rate. Elected to the class of 2017 as a coach, Muffet McGraw. This Oklahoman native followed his collegiate playing career at Oklahoma State by coaching, first at the high school level and then as an assistant. Next, it was on to head coaching stints at Oral Roberts, Tulsa, Illinois, and then Kansas. In Lawrence, he has led the Jayhawks to an astounding 13 Big 12 regular season championships in a row, 8 Sweet 16 appearances, and the national championship in 2008. Winning Coach of the Year awards too numerous to mention, he also received the prestigious Mannie Jackson Basketball's Human Spirit Award by the Hall of Fame for his charity work off the court. Elected to the class of 2017 as a coach, Bill Self. Ladies and gentlemen, the class of 2017. Great group of people and a great night indeed. And now, to share the latest news on the exciting renovation of the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame, please welcome the Hall of Fame's president and CEO, Mr. John DeLiva.
Thank you. Much like the traffic that's happening outside here, all the renovations that they're doing to Route 91 and building a $1 billion casino right across from Route 91, I got caught in some traffic over here. So I think many of you might have done that tonight too. So Rick Kamla, thank you so much for being our MC. We love having you here. You've been here so many years, your family, and we so much look forward to welcoming you back every year. We have a very full program ahead of us tonight, so I just want to offer my words of welcome to the class of 2017 on the eve of their enshrinement into the Hall of Fame. And to all of our returning Hall of Famers, it numbers this weekend about 50. We welcome you all back, all of our past and present board members, all of our special guests, every one of you, welcome to the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame Enshrinement Weekend. I have two tasks to be done quickly, and that is to recognize some important support we have tonight from sponsors who help provide this magnificent dinner. And they are our sponsor specifically for this dinner, SCP Auctions, represented by their team and SCP President David Kohler. SCP Auctions is our official auction partner, and they stand ready to assist anyone in the Hall of Fame family who may want to explore appraisal of a collection, or anyone who may want to enter the auction, memorabilia auction marketplace. I'm told that the market is very hot for memorabilia, and the SCP team will be here tonight and tomorrow to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you again to David Kohler and his team from SCP Auctions for being tonight's dinner sponsor. SCP offers a no-cost, no-obligation consultation to anyone in the Hall of Fame family as part of our relationship who would like to learn more about their opportunity. So David and your group, thank you so much for your support tonight. And our overall enshrinement weekend partner is none other than Nike, who supports many Hall of Fame events annually around the U.S. that expands the reach and scope of the Naismith Hall of Fame. But we offer specific thanks tonight for the Nike team for being a part of this enshrinement weekend. It's a first-class affair, so thank you very much, Nike. And as I close and make way for the chairman of our Board of Governors to come up and say a few words, you will remember during last year's enshrinement dinner here 1 year ago, we told you about a capital campaign that has been underway since late 2015. That campaign has made major strides to the tune of a pledged total commitment by donors to the campaign of $24 million of a $30 million goal. And we will meet that $30 million goal, I will guarantee, by next enshrinement, if not before. Now, in celebration of the leadership of Board Chair Jerry Colangelo, Capital Campaign Committee Chair Sherman Brown, and the full Capital Campaign Committee, we want all of you to have a feel for just what lies in store for the soon-to-be new Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame, as we plan to spend in excess of $15 million to bring us up to the cutting edge of technology and ensure that your Hall of Fame is the world's finest sports museum. So let's take a look at where this successful campaign is about to take us as a Hall of Fame family.
One day I had an idea. I called the boys to the gym and gave them an old soccer ball. I showed them 2 peach baskets I'd nailed up at each end of the gym. I blew a whistle, and the first game of basketball began.
Like the arc of a basketball, our story spans the globe and all its cultures. An arc that began here in Springfield, Massachusetts, and today, with you, returns. In 2002, this building opened, a gleaming 50,000 square foot building surrounded by retail, restaurants, and a hotel. Ever since, it has stood as a steward to a game that lives in the hearts of everyone who has ever picked up a ball, sank a free throw, or sat in the stands.
When I was 7 years old, I smelled the leather on the ball, and it was the beginning of a love affair that's lasted my entire lifetime.
At the time, the hall provided an immersive experience, positioning itself as the world's finest sports museum. After millions have passed through these doors, a lot has changed in the game and in the industry. That's why now we're investing in a visionary revitalization of this Mecca. Join us on our journey to revitalize the new Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. Very quietly, over the past 2 years, the Hall of Fame board leadership under Chairman Jerry Colangelo has executed a successful capital campaign that has raised $25 million of a $30 million goal. Sourcing primarily the basketball community, we expect this campaign to meet its goal by Enshrinement 2018. Where is this money being used? More than half is going toward a two-phased refurbishment of the Hall of Fame exhibits. We've partnered with an experienced team of exhibit designers, architects, and museum content experts with decades of experience in producing the world's most inventive sports museums. The first phase of this renovation, opening in the spring of 2018, includes a new lobby, pulsing with the latest technology.
Welcome to the Hall of Fame.
The signature piece of this new lobby is a seated theater experience, melding the latest digital cinema with powerful storytelling.
I love basketball. It's never betrayed me. It's never let me down.
During the 60s was the beginning of the civil rights movement, and I think that through basketball, we were able to break down a lot of barriers.
And learn from the greatest coaches in the game. The Coach's Circle exhibit allows all of us to get inside the minds and hearts of the game's greatest mentors.
I hope people watch this and the first thing they do is go call their teachers, their mentors, their coaches, and say thank you.
In May of 2020, Phase 2 opens. Interactivity and emotional storytelling. The new renovation will speak to our journey through cutting-edge technology to create bold and memorable statements. The goal? To empower, inspire, and educate. The highlight of this new renovation is the Ring of Honor, an experience that blends the reverence of the Hall of Fame with all the modern accents to keep visitors returning to the Hall time and time again.
The places where these people started that are on the walls around this building are as different and as complex as you can imagine. It's a celebration of aspirations being achieved, and it tells all of us and anybody, any walk of life, you got a chance for greatness and a chance to make a difference.
This two-phase renovation is made possible solely by people like you, those who have opened their minds, hearts, and resources to ensure that this Hall of Fame will reclaim the status of the world's greatest sports museum.
Hi, I'm Louis Dampier.
I'm Spencer Haywood.
I'm Basketball Hall of Famer Nancy Lieberman.
Big Bob Lanier, class of '92.
Welcome.
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 To the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame.
We invented the game here. We taught the world about the game. We're here for a purpose. We're here for a reason.
The whole thing started with a couple of peach baskets I put up in a little gym. I guess it just goes to show what you can do if you have to.
The new Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. A place to highlight all of our love for the game. A place to tell our story at the home of the world's finest sports museum.
That's amazing. Congratulations to Jerry and John and Mannie and Paul Lambert and everybody with the Hall of Fame and everybody who's contributed to the renovations that you just saw right there. Simply amazing. And ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we would like to bring to the stage the chairman of the board here at the Hall of Fame and a member of the Hall of Fame class of 2003, Mr. Jerry Colangelo. Jerry, how are you, sir?
I'm great. How about yourself?
Couldn't be better here at the Hall of Fame, having a blast. So talk to us about the renovations and your thoughts on the growth and the success here of this beautiful museum.
Well, first of all, you know, everyone who's here is part of the family. We have Hall of Famers, we have the new class, we have family, we have friends, supporters, etc. And I think for those of us who are intimately involved with the Hall of Fame, when we walk in here, it's something very, very special. And so to be able to give back to the game that's been so good to all of us individually is a blessing. And so to be part of what we're trying to get accomplished here in terms of a capital campaign, and yes, we've been successful to this point, but we need to get to the finish line. And so I've asked all of the Hall of Famers who are here in the concept of team game, that to the best of anyone's ability to participate. We want to have 100% participation from the Hall of Famers themselves as part of a give back, and there's no reason why that couldn't happen.
That's awesome. And the class of 2017 is very unique and very diverse. Can you talk more about that?
Sure. I think each year when we talk about candidates, you know, in each category, there's a lot of deliberation, there's a lot of competition, and so for anyone to be selected is quite an honor to begin with. And the great stories that everyone will be able to hear and share with this weekend will touch everyone's heart. That's just the way it is. It's very special to each of the new inductees. Each one of them is well deserving of the honor, and they're now new members of the family.
Jerry, thank you so much. Enjoy the night.
Okay, Rick, thank you.
One of the greatest basketball figures of all time, ladies and gentlemen, Jerry Colangelo. Jerry, thank you again for your remarkable and historic leadership here at the Hall of Fame, this unbelievable museum filled with basketball history. So, before we get to the dinner portion of the program, we are delighted this evening to be joined by such a remarkable group of returning Hall of Fame members. I'd like to ask all of the Hall of Famers in the room, and you know who you are, to stand up. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the Hall of Fame these legendary figures. Lenny Wilkins, Bob McAdoo, Nate Archibald, Gino Auriemma, Rick Barry, Jim Calhoun, Van Chancellor, Jerry Colangelo, Bob Cousy, Joan Crawford, Louis Dampier, Ann Donovan, Teresa Edwards, Artis Gilmore, Russ Granick, Spencer Haywood, Bailey Howell, Bob Hurley, Dan Issel, Bernard King, Bobby Leonard, Nancy Lieberman, Annie Myers, Calvin Murphy, Kathy Rush, David Stern, Cheryl Swoops, Jamal Wilkes, Cece Daniels, the widow of Mel Daniels, and Julie Gavitt, the widow of Dave Gavitt. Give it up. Extraordinary people. Now, it's time to eat. Enjoy the delicious dinner prepared by our friends at Max's Catering, and we will see you shortly. Hope you all are enjoying this unbelievable dinner. The chicken looks fantastic. All right, we have some breaking news for you. My man Jay Harris sitting over here, I'm sure he'd appreciate this, a little breaking news here at the Hall of Fame. So we bring back the Hall of Fame chairman and Hall of Famer himself, Jerry Colangelo, with this breaking news. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Jerry Colangelo.
This is very quick. You heard my words a little bit earlier about the campaign and how we're doing and what we're projected to do. But this is really late breaking, and I want to make this announcement. And it's very significant because, you know, so often you hear in sports that players don't really give back as much as they're capable of giving back. Right or wrong, that's what you hear. And it's really not true. There are so many that give back. But this information is pretty good. I'm pleased to announce a $1 million gift from the National Basketball Players Association Foundation. It's especially meaningful because it represents a major commitment from today's players and indicates their respect and acknowledgement of those who came before them in this great game. So I want to thank Chris Paul, who was here a year ago, who was very touched by his time here. And I know that had something to do with this decision. And of course, he serves as leadership as president of the NBPA Foundation. Is Krissa Chin here? She here? Krissa, there she is. She's with the Players Association, a dear friend. Thank you, Krissa. And David LaFleur. Is David here? With the Players Association. If you are, stand up. I just want to say thank you. It's very significant. I just wanted to share that announcement with you. Thank you.
Jerry, thank you very much, and thank you to the MBPA for that unbelievable gesture. Ladies and gentlemen, on with the show. We've already had some terrific moments up here recognizing returning Hall of Famers and our special guests, the class of 2017. Let's continue as we begin to hand out some very prestigious awards, beginning with the Mannie Jackson Basketball's Human Spirit Awards. Before we meet this year's recipients and talk with Mannie, let's take a look at this outstanding honor for community service.
The Mannie Jackson Human Spirit Award, it has to do with recognizing the hundreds of athletes, professional, amateur, and others, who are really doing good things in their communities. And so often the media only isolates those that have been in trouble or caught in situations that are unfortunate, and they make a big deal out of it. But there's a tremendous number of these athletes that are doing great things in their communities, and they care about their families, they care about their communities, they care about their schools they came from, and they don't get recognized. You know, a basketball player's career is over when they're 40 years old, say, or 35 years old, and where they've made $200,000 or $200 million. The question is why? What are you going to do with this? And so the Human Spirit Award begins to implant in both the winners and people who are observing the behavior of the winners. What is this all about? I think people who become great at this game and get recognized for it have an obligation to do something with it. And the platform should be used in a way to raise society, make people better, individuals better, and situations better. So if you could just implant those couple concepts into the few, less than 1%, that have the opportunity to play this great game of basketball, God, you could change the world. Human Spirit Award is looking at those people who've actually done that. They've taken their coaching platform, their basketball platform, they made an individuals better, they made their communities better, and they go into their years like I am, saying, look back, say, I did something good for the society, I've changed things. And it's a way of recognizing these people who are doing it and inspiring other people to do the same thing.
Indeed. And now let's meet this year's outstanding honorees. First, the legendary high school basketball coach at St. Anthony's High School in Jersey City, New Jersey, where for over 40 years he guided, mentored, and coached student athletes, as well as faculty and parents. In addition to coaching, he was also a longtime parole officer where he learned about urban life. That fueled his passion to provide young people with direction, structure, discipline, and love. Now he will lead the Hurley Family Foundation to continue his work in Jersey City and beyond. A 2010 Basketball Hall of Fame inductee, ladies and gentlemen, Bob Hurley. Next, she is a trailblazer who became the first female to coach a men's pro team and to play in a men's pro league. She created the Nancy Lieberman Charities, which has served over 3 million children through a variety of programs, including Dream Courts, which provide safe play areas for kids in underprivileged communities. Get this, 4 million youngsters have participated in her camps and clinics over the past 36 years. She is a 1996 inductee into the Basketball Hall of Fame. You know her, you love her, Nancy Lieberman. Our final honoree is a 12-time NBA All-Star who created his Wade's World Foundation back in 2003. It began by helping at-risk communities in Chicago, Milwaukee, and South Florida, and has since expanded to reach those in need all over the world. The foundation's motto is to give every child a shot, and it does that by supporting a variety of programs dealing with literacy, youth clinics, court refurbishments, and holiday giving. He is not a basketball Hall of Famer yet, but one day his face will be up there for sure. Please welcome the one and only Dwayne Wade. And also joining us on stage, the man this award is named after, and a member of the Hall of Fame class of 2017, the great Mannie Jackson. Welcome to you all. Great to have you up here. So I'd like to begin with a question to Bob, to Nancy, and to Dwayne about the roots of your generosity. Coach, you first.
Well, I was fortunate that I grew up in a CYO program in Jersey City, and other than my parents, I was greatly influenced by the coaches that took the time to, to give you an opportunity to play. And I was a sports person, so other than my family, they were the people that I listened to the most, and that was kind of the way I thought coaches should conduct themselves.
A little different for me. I was a poor kid from a one-parent family growing up in New York. I mean, no heat, no electric, no food, no father. Sports changed my life. Basketball changed my life. And it gave me everything. And I had this hero that I fell in love with at 10. His name was Muhammad Ali. And I got to meet him at 19. And he changed my life because to the day he died, he taught me about giving. He taught me about living with purpose. He taught me about giving back and making sure that every day of my life was about, he said, service to others is the rent you pay for your time here on earth. What can I do for you? How can I help you? People helped me when I didn't have. It just seems like the right thing to do.
My upbringing, very similar to what Nancy said. For me, it was always people of importance in my life that continued to drive home the importance of giving back. It started with my grandma, Willa Mae Morris. We didn't have much, but what she always drove home to us is that we at least have a roof over our head, even if though we even had lights or gas or water. We didn't have those things, but we had a roof over our head. So we have more than others, and she always embedded in us about giving back to the ones that has even less than we have. And it started there, and it continued to go as I went through college. My college coach always drove in my mind to much is given, much is required. And I always remember that. I've been given so much, I've been blessed so much, and a lot is required from me. So it goes to the people that I looked at as mentors, and people that I love in my life that drove that point home for me.
That's awesome, guys. Give it up for Dwayne, Nancy, and Bob. And Bob, I want to ask you the mission of the Hurley Family Foundation.
Well, reluctantly, I would have to tell you that my high school closed after 50 years of working there, and we had always been very strong in our commitment to the inner city and getting the kid an affordable education. So as the school closed now, we still have kids at risk all over the city, and basketball is still something the kids want to do. So we decided we'd take the gym where we are, we'd rent a gym, and begin a grassroots program, starting with 8-year-olds, and work all the way up through the kids that are in junior or senior high school, and kind of use the experience I've had of being a coach in the inner city for 50 years, and just reinvent myself, maybe a little bit late in the going, but do something that I think will be equally as satisfying.
I know everybody in the community appreciates that, Coach, really very much. Nancy, what makes it all worth it for you?
To see young people, we're generation now, and we have to affect generation next. And for so many of us in this room, we have abundance. And, the dash matters. The dash is not about you, it's about what you've done for others. 1958, oh, did I just age myself? I'm sorry. 1958, dash, question mark. It's what are we doing for others? Because, growing up in New York and playing my at 11, 12, 13 years old in Rutger Park. I knew I looked different from some of the guys out there, but they loved me, they protected me, I feared nobody but respected everybody, and we want to instill this into today's youth, that we all know we look different, but it doesn't mean we can't love each other and we can't be there for one another. So we get a chance, to change society and culture by not what we say, but what we do.
That's awesome, Nancy. And Dwayne, the impetus behind your foundation and your giving back as children, what does it mean to you, sitting here right now and talking to these great people, to change lives and make kids' lives better?
Well, I think I can speak for all of us. Is we all sitting up on this stage, and we've all had the success of life that we've had because of other people doing the same thing for us. So I definitely understand and know that I'm not here today without someone reaching back to me, to my family. So I see the examples in front of me, and I try to follow those examples. It's a blueprint out there of what works. And that's all I've tried to do in my life, is follow those blueprints, follow those great peoples. I'm in a sport where, we have amazing mentors in front of us. I had Alonzo Mourning to look at in Miami. We had, in the game, we had Magic Johnson and all these award recipients, here. A good friend of mine, Chris Paul. All these people who are doing amazing things because someone did the same thing to them. They reached back, they helped them, they helped their families, and it just makes you want to do the same.
CP3 was on this stage in this very moment last year. Dwayne, Nancy, Bob, thank you very much. Mannie Jackson, I'd like some quick thoughts here on Dwayne, Nancy, and Bob and how special they are.
These are three tremendous people, and I think they know what I've discovered. When you play any professional sport or play at the level these folks are operating in life, you have a responsibility to do something and give back. Athletes should know this for sure. Their success is a phenomena of DNA. That's a gift. As Jesse Jackson and others said, they wake up on third base and think they hit a triple. They have the gift and the DNA of being special, which says to me, you ought to share that gift. These folks here have shared the gift that God has given them, and we appreciate it, and those people who've helped us appreciate them very much.
Mannie, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause for Mannie Jackson, Dwayne Wade, Nancy Lieberman, and Bob Hurley. All right, at this time, I'd like to call up the Hall of Fame CEO and President John DeLeva for a photo op with these wonderful philanthropists. Keep it going. One more round of applause for the winners of the 2017 Mannie Jackson's Human Spirit Award, Bob Hurley, Nancy Lieberman, and Dwayne Wade. We are now proud to announce the winners of the 2017 John Bunn Lifetime Achievement Award, the single greatest honor presented by the Hall of Fame outside of enshrinement. This year's winners have spent an extraordinary life of service and success to the sport of basketball. That's right, I said winners, plural. For the first time in its history, the Hall of Fame will be awarding 2 Lifetime Achievement Awards in the same year. These 2 gentlemen, with their remarkable careers, certainly make this a unique circumstance, understandable, and also timely. Our first recipient has dedicated his lifetime serving as a coach, mentor, and tireless advocate of the game of basketball. From the University of Connecticut, Coach Donald D. Rowe.
steps of the game of basketball, quite like Donald D. Rowe. Dee fell in love with basketball while attending Worcester Academy, then went on to play for Middlebury College. After earning a master's degree in education, Rowe returned to his high school alma mater as director of athletics. He also coached the basketball team, leading the program to 9 consecutive New England Prep School championships. Named head coach at the University of Connecticut in 1969, Dee was honored as the New England Coach of the Year twice during his 8-year tenure. After stepping away from coaching, Rowe stayed as dedicated as ever to the program, launching the fundraising arm for UConn Athletics and spearheading the campaign to build Gamble Pavilion. He also played an integral role in the school, joining the Big East Conference, and served on the search committees that hired Hall of Fame coaches Jim Calhoun and Gino Auriemma. After nearly 5 decades at UConn, Dee Rowe still retains a role at the school, serving as a special advisor for athletics.
You're already standing. You know who this guy is. You love him. This is a home game for him right now. Please welcome to the stage the first recipient of the 2017 John Bunn Lifetime Achievement Award, Coach Dee Rowe.
There's only one guy in this room older than I am. He's sitting at the table with me. He was a little better as a player, but there's still some concern about that. And I'm grateful to Robert Cousy for being here with me this evening. I tell you what, you're a bad crowd. You should cheer like hell for this guy. More noise, more noise. This is an incredible honor for a very old gym rat. My next birthday, and I don't want to give coups away, but I'm only going to be 89 in about 2 months, and I'm lucky to get through dinner tonight. I began playing in cellars. Had cellars, but each cellar had a coal bin at one side, and there was a furnace at the other side. And I thought I was in heaven. And I've stayed in heaven all those years. I want to say special thanks to our president, John DeLeva, our chairman, Jerry Colangelo, and the Board of Trustees. This Lifetime Achievement Award is a name in honor of a very special guy who I saw coach. Get this, he's coaching at Worcester Tech. He came from Stanford. He's coaching at Worcester Tech. So I go to the games there because I lived near that neighborhood. So I would go up to the games. The guy got a sweatsuit on. I never saw a guy coach with a sweatsuit. And now I'm getting an award with a guy with a sweatsuit. That's pretty good. I didn't wear my sweatsuit tonight because it wouldn't fit. I want to thank all of you for being here. I've met so many people tonight, friends that either played for me, either at Worcester Academy or played at Connecticut, or are fans of ours or friends in some way. And it's a pleasure just to be here and be honored in this way and to share the award with the late Michael Goldberg, who was a longtime brilliant executive director of the National Basketball Coaches Association. And my congratulations to Michael's family for all the good that he gave to this game. Thank you. I wouldn't be standing here tonight if I didn't have my roommate here. She's only been with me for 64 years. She should be the one getting honored, I'll tell you that. But we only have 7 kids, which is not bad for an Episcopalian. And we have 17 grandchildren, which is, I think, a world's record. I'm not sure. I fell in love with the game in the 3rd grade. The guy that coached Coos was my gym teacher. Tough as nails. You wouldn't move. Even now I'm scared of him. We went to see him in a nursing home. He made us run to touch the wall. You guys on his rear end in the nursing home having a butt. And I'm out there running. And then he took Andy Lasker, who was a great coach at Assumption and athletic director, played at Holy Cross with Coos, and he made Andy run. Now it's Robert's turn. Coos was not really in a hurry to jog the length of that track for his old coach. He hedged, he just, he looked around. Finally, he did it. So we all did it. 2 weeks later, we were at the funeral. And all the guys, the great guys that were such great players at Holy Cross, were there to celebrate the Mass for Coach Buster, who was a great coach at Holy Cross. 1947, I was a kid at Worcester Academy, and Union Station in Worcester is down the hill. Holy Cross won the national championship. Coos was a star of that team. They had great, great guys that became my dear friends. They were coaches, mentors, awesome, awesome people, none better. They won the championship. And many of those guys went on to great careers, and I would be always grateful for their friendship. But they gave me an incredible start. And I began my coaching career at Worcester Academy. We had some great kids, won some championships, and they couldn't have been better people. And some of them are here tonight, and I'm thankful to see them, grateful to see them. One guy came from California, one to Louisiana. I know I kicked their rear ends a lot. I'm amazed that they got back here. It's wonderful. I came to UConn in 1969. It was a tough time. Any of you coached or played in that time. It wasn't an easy day. We somehow survived and got to 3 postseason tournaments, including a Sweet 16. I had great assistants, Freddie Barracat, Jimmy Valvano, Bob Stack, who's here tonight, Don Perno. Hopefully in some small way, maybe we set the table. Maybe we set the table for those great coaches that followed us. Our 2 Hall of Fame coaches, Jim Calhoun, Gino Auriemma, I come up here and I want to praise them, but their pictures are here, and they're taking a bow without me saying anything. They only won 14 NCAA championships and 1 NIT. They took us to the top of the mountain, and I will be forever grateful to thank them forever for letting me go along on the road to see all the great things that they did for our game at the University of Connecticut. I'll forever be grateful to our late athletic director, John Toner, who gave me my start there 48 years ago. He took us into the Big East, was a great college athletic director. I thank my other ADs. They are here, one is here tonight. A couple of the older guys are here tonight. Lou Perkins, Jeff Hathaway, and I am very grateful. And our president athletic director is doing a marvelous job, and I'm so grateful to have him here tonight as well. I also want to thank our UConn president. She's been a superb leader, but what she's done great for me is to let me still have a uniform, and I still get a check from them every month, which is not bad. I miss one of my dear friends that I've got to mention to you, the late Dave Gavitt, a Hall of Fame coach, administrator, founder of the Big East Conference, and so much more. An absolute treasure. Dave began his coaching career with me at Worcester Academy. He later gave me my greatest honor in coaching to be his assistant for the U.S. national team when we played in Russia and all overseas. And then he asked me to be his assistant with the Olympic team in 1980, along with Olympian Larry Brown. I'm very grateful to Dave. His wife is here, Julie, tonight. Son Dan is here tonight. And I am so grateful to have been part and continue to be a part of their lives, and could not be more appreciative. I also want to congratulate our Hall of Fame honorees here tonight. Special congratulations also to UConn's Rebecca Lobo, a great star on Gino's first team of 11 national championships, and so much more that she's done for the game and for people. Very, very grateful and honor you. In closing, and nobody's thrown anything at me tonight, and the commissioner has been very, very nice. I appreciate that, our president. But in closing, I want to thank a round ball for giving me a special life. A kid from Burncoat Hill in Worcester, because of that game, got to see the whole world. The people and the relationships are a treasure. We are all part of an incredible family. And I would just urge all of you to cherish the bonds, cherish the memories, and know that there's an old coach that's so very grateful every day. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've been doing this for a while. That is one of the best speeches I've ever heard here at the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. Coach D. Rowe. Amazing. Coach Rowe, congratulations and thank you again. The next recipient of the Bunn Lifetime Achievement Award is honored posthumously tonight, much to our collective regret. He is an individual who has dedicated an extraordinary life of service and achievement for NBA coaches, Michael Goldberg.
Michael Goldberg would follow in his father's footsteps as an attorney, becoming general counsel to the American Basketball Association in 1974, and providing a guiding hand for the absorption of 4 ABA franchises into the NBA. In 1980, Goldberg would profoundly impact the teachers of our game at the highest levels when he became the executive director of the National Basketball Coaches Association. For the better part of the next 4 decades, Michael was instrumental in enhancing the lives of the members of the NBCA. It was his life's work. Among the many initiatives the organization undertook were improving health insurance and retirement funding for NBA coaches. Michael also was the founder of the National Media Group. His agency played a pivotal role in the growth of basketball internationally, organizing the Gatorade World Coaches Clinic program for the NBA and aiding in establishing the McDonald's Championship. Upon his passing earlier this year, the basketball world donned Michael's signature bow tie to honor a well-loved leader, mentor, and friend to so many members of the NBA community.
Simply an amazing man, and I don't know if you saw it on the plaque, it said Hobbies, the Kids. How cool is that? Join me in recognizing the second winner of the 2017 John Bunn Lifetime Achievement Award, Michael Goldberg. And joining us this evening with a few reflections on Michael Goldberg's remarkable life and career from the Hall of Fame class of 2013, Mr. Russ Granick.
Thank you very much, Rick. I would just add to that introduction that I'm proud to have been a friend of Michael's for over 30 years. Those photos are really terrific to see. Thanks also to Jerry Colangelo, John DeLeva, and the Bunn Award Committee for honoring Michael in recognition of his contributions to the game of basketball over a period spanning some 5 decades. And my thanks to Michael's family, Linda, Lauren, and Susan, for giving me the honor of accepting this award on their behalf tonight. No one cared more about family than Michael, and I know he would have been pleased that we are also joined tonight by his 2 young grandsons, Asher and Ellis, and his son-in-law, Nick. Now, I know a lot of people in this room had the privilege of knowing Michael personally. Nobody knew more people than Michael. But I would guess that many of you were unaware of the depth of his involvement in the sport of basketball beyond his role as the longtime executive director of the Coaches Association. Now, I don't mean to minimize that role at all. Representing the coaches meant a great deal to Michael, I know, and the recent outpouring of respect and affection by coaches past and present attested to their appreciation of him. But that was truly only one piece of Michael's basketball legacy. In fact, it's no exaggeration to say that he was at the very heart of some of the key events that shaped the modern development of the game, both in the United States and internationally. Michael's first job out of law school was an attorney at the SEC, not the Southeastern Conference, but the Securities and Exchange Commission. Can you imagine anything less in tune with Michael's personality? But before long, he landed that position as the ABA's general counsel, as it turned out, the first, last, and only one. Working with Commissioner Dave DeBusschere, Michael ended up helping to structure the very deal with the NBA that necessarily resulted in the elimination of his own job. But at the same time, it preserved 4 franchises that all remain with us 41 years later, saved the jobs of 50 or so players, and brought to the NBA a number of stars like tomorrow's enshrinee George McGinnis, Julius Erving, who gave the NBA a much-needed boost at a time that was critical for the league. Fortunately, Michael didn't stay out of basketball very long. Together with his close friend Peter Kaplan, he formed the National Media Group, one of the pioneers in the newly developing field of sports marketing. And they were a big help to the NBA, I can tell you, bringing to us some key sponsors in the early 80s when it wasn't easy to convince corporate executives that the NBA could help reach a broad national audience. When Michael also began representing the NBA coaches, he saw that basketball was starting to take off in Europe, where there was a real desire to improve the level of the game. So Michael began promoting those clinics during the off-season, where he would bring NBA coaches to instruct their European counterparts. And coincidentally, some of Michael's clients got to enjoy a nice summer vacation each year in Italy. The clinics were so well received that FIBA hired National Media Group as its US marketing agent. And then one day, Michael called me in my office and said that FIBA Secretary General Borislav Stankovic would be visiting New York, and he'd like to meet with David Stern and me to discuss ways in which we could begin working together to grow the game worldwide. So a short time later, Michael accompanied Dr. Stankovic to our office for what I believe was the first ever meeting between top officials of FIBA and the NBA. It resulted in the cooperative creation of the McDonald's Open, a series of international tournaments which were jointly managed by the NBA and National Media Group. And less than 2 years later, FIBA lifted its long-standing ban on NBA players competing for their home countries. And that became the catalyst for the Dream Team in Barcelona in 1992 and all that followed. I know that Michael valued the support of countless colleagues, far too many to mention. I'm certain, though, that from the Coaches Association, he would have wanted to acknowledge Hall of Famer Lenny Wilkens and Rick Carlisle for their selfless leadership over many years, as well as his co-workers Karen Marrero and David Fogel. And among his regular business contacts on a daily basis at the NBA were many who became his personal friends, including David Stern, Rod Thorne, Adam Silver, Nancy Hayward, Jeff Mishkin, Mark Tatum, and Charlie Rosenzweig. Michael loved what he did, and he loved basketball. He was a lifelong Knicks fan, a decades-long season ticket holder. Though I suspect what he liked most was not so much the X's and O's, but the people involved in the sport, from owners to ticket takers, since in all aspects of his life, Michael was genuinely interested in other people from any background. And his prime motivation, both in business and personally, was to help people, help them make a business deal, help them meet other people, help them find the perfect restaurant in wherever they might be. And probably most of all, helping talented young people starting out in their careers. A lot of successful people in our business got one of their early jobs thanks to Michael. Although he was unable to savor it for very long, unfortunately, Michael was aware of his selection for the Bunn Award, which I know he greatly appreciated. It was the kind of thing that he most respected, a recognition from his peers in an endeavor he cherished. He was a wonderful, accomplished, and unique person, and we were all lucky to have him in the basketball community. There couldn't be any finer choice for this honor than Michael Goldberg. So let's show his family how much we appreciate his contributions to the game. Thank you.
Russ, thank you very much. Simply put, Michael Goldberg was one of the nicest and most sincere people that I ever had the pleasure of meeting. Great, great man. He will be dearly missed. Time now for the presentation of the Curt Gowdy Media Awards. First, the honor for print journalism. This year's winner is one of the most respected and decorated sports journalists in America, Harvey Arreton.
Over the course of more than 4 decades, Harvey Arreton has distinguished himself as a singular talent covering the sport of basketball. While still an undergrad at the City University of New York, Arreton began his writing career at the Staten Island Advance in 1970. He'd go on to cover his hometown Knicks with stints at both New York tabloids, the Post and the Daily News, before moving to the New York Times in 1991. It was there that he cemented his reputation as one of the nation's top sports columnists, earning a Pulitzer Prize nomination in 1994. Harvey has authored several books on basketball and twice was honored for column writing by the Associated Press, while also earning Sports Writer of the Year honors in 1998.
Please welcome the 2017 recipient of the Curt Gowdy Award for Print Media, Mr. Harvey Arreton.
Thank you. Before I begin, I feel I need to say that I'm so proud to receive the Gowdy Award the same year as Craig Sager, who was one of the coolest and most courageous people that any of us will ever know. And so congratulations to Craig's family. I was once a young night clerk, very young, on the desk of the New York Post. And on Friday nights, I would go in and work with 2 very senior editors who had been longtime boxing writers. And I would sit around and listen to these guys tell these incredible stories about their days on the Ali train and, you know, covering fights in exotic, faraway places like the Philippines and Zaire. And I would sit there and listen to this, and then I would go home and just fantasize and think like, wow, if I'm lucky enough to make a career in this business, will I ever have stories like that to tell? Well, 40 years later, taking career inventory, I'm thinking about 1992 and a journey that took me from Portland to Monte Carlo to Barcelona. Just last week, an old journalist friend of mine, Aileen Voisin from the Sacramento Bee, sent me a photo of her, myself, and Bob Ryan at this great little family restaurant somewhere across the border from Monte Carlo in Italy. A tough life. But listen, when you have to eat well and live large when you're covering the greatest sports team in the history of sports. Those were incredible. That was an incredible summer for us. But it wasn't just the fact that we got to cover the Dream Team. We also covered history occurring on the great global stage of sports. I think back to those guys from Lithuania and Croatia celebrating freedom on the medal stand that great night when the Dream Team got its gold medals. And I'm thinking, those are the stories that I've come to tell. What we learned from them was that, what the world learned from those guys was what we already knew, that basketball is a game to behold. I grew up in a housing project in Staten Island, New York, where we didn't have much in the way of luxury. We did, however, have basketball courts. A young player named Lou Alcindor, the future Kareem, visited our courts one summer and held a clinic. Our neighborhood star was a guy named Hayward Dotson, who would occasionally bring his Columbia University running mate, Jim McMillan, the great late Jim McMillan, down with some of the other city college players to run full court. I was just getting into my teen years about then, and the kids that I played ball with on those courts all worshipped and mimicked the old Knicks. So how fortunate am I that just a few years later, I would be covering, getting to know people like Red Holzman, Willis Reed, Walt Frazier, Earl Monroe, all my childhood idols, and wound up having the privilege of writing a book about them as well. Soon, I was covering 3 Knicks Hall of Famers, Bernard King, Bob McAdoo, and of course, Patrick Ewing. And then on, to be so fortunate to have written about Dr. J, Magic and Bird, Jordan and the Bulls, Kobe, Shaq, Duncan, and LeBron. I was at courtside in Beijing when Yao Ming brought the Olympics home. I once traveled on assignment to Tbilisi in the Republic of Georgia, where on a wall there was this old poster, and it happened to have been taken at, or shot at Madison Square Garden. And there was I in the corner peeking up at Michael Jordan soaring in for a dunk. When I pointed it out to my host, it was slapping me on the back and saying, "Friend of Jordan, friend of Jordan." So I want to say thank you to David Stern and Adam Silver. First for taking my calls, even on those very rare occasions when you weren't too thrilled to hear from me. But mainly for a league that has been not just about global growth, it's been about acceptance and about inclusion, about all the great American values. Thank you for a league that encourages its people to stand up for what they believe in. These are the values that inspire us to learn and grow. So I'm also particularly gratified to be here the same night, the same time that Rebecca Lobo is being inducted, as we heard earlier. It was her team, her and Gino's teams at Connecticut in the 90s that got me hooked on their beautiful game. And I started covering the women's tournament and made it and became a staple of my annual sports calendar. I went and never left. Some people have called me an advocate for the women's game. I don't know. I actually just kind of went where I thought there was a good story. And as with anything else, I've tried to tell these stories as best and honestly as I possibly could. One of the best stories I will add was when Niall Ivey helped win the national title on a bad ankle in St. Louis, which was her hometown, from Muffet McGraw at Notre Dame. Congratulations to Coach McGraw. We love and celebrate individual greatness in this sport, but it's always about the team, and it's no different for those of us in the media. Over the years, at 4 newspapers, I've had so many great colleagues, reporters in the trenches, editors who mentored and put up with me. I even had a de facto career coach, my dear friend Michelle Musler, a special lady who's been sitting in the first row behind the Knicks bench for the past 40 years. I've also, the last 25 years, had the good fortune of working at the New York Times. And what a global ride that's been. They only put one name on a column most of the time, but I know and want everyone, I know and I want everyone here to know that my colleagues at the Times over here, everything that I ever got into the paper was with their help. Thank you all so much, my colleagues at the Times, for guiding me here. Thank you, Jason Stallman and Jay Schreiber, for your great leadership. I've been a general sports columnist at the Times, so I've been all around various sports and events, and I will tell you that the greatest athletes, I think I'm qualified to say this, are basketball players. I will also, thank you. I will also tell you that there are no finer people and no more inquisitive and thorough journalists than those who have covered this game. I could stand here all night and name names. Well, actually I can't, but I would like to acknowledge one guy who wrote brilliantly about this game, Ira Burkow, my big brother at the Times, who is here tonight. Ira. So when we talk about team, that of course means family more than anything. In a business that is so much about being away from home and sacrifice, I can't say enough about how accepting of that life my family has been and how my 2 wonderful basketball-loving sons have helped me stay current in my work by allowing me to see the game through their eyes. Alex is 27 now, but his earliest bedtime stories, and I kid you not, were from NBA media guides. He's the only 4-year-old who knew the true relevance of Central Arkansas. He grew up loving Michael, then Kobe, and later, like his dad, the Spurs. Charlie, his younger brother, the point guard of our family, somehow became a Clippers fan before Blake and Chris. I don't know how that happened. I think he and Billy Crystal were the only ones. And just so Doc knows, he's still waiting for something good, really good to happen. His optimism inspires me. As a dowry into marriage, my wife brought her old Knicks game programs. They came in handy when I wrote When the Garden Was Eden. Beth, I will never be able to repay you for all you've done at home during my time away, and especially while you were doing your important work. And oh, and one more thing, wherever John Paxson, wherever you are, thank you so much for saving my marriage by hitting that 3 in Phoenix. Sorry, Jerry, because you spared her from having to close on an apartment in Brooklyn and a house in Montclair, New Jersey, all by herself on the same day, so, while she was 8 months pregnant. Beth, Alex, and Charlie, you amaze me and you make me so proud. Finally, I have been to the Hall of Fame before to write induction columns on Chris Mullin, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Johnson, to name a few. But what a thrill to have my name added to so many talented recipients of this award. Jackie McMullen, Sam Smith, and David Aldridge are here tonight. It's a thrill for me. Thank you to everyone at the Hall, and congratulations to all of this year's award winners and inductees. Thank you.
Thank you, Harvey, and congratulations once again. Ladies and gentlemen, we now move to the Gowdy Award bestowed for electronic journalism. And this year we honor someone we dearly miss. The award goes posthumously to the great Craig Sager.
Affectionately known as America's sideline reporter, Craig Sager first made a name for himself at Northwestern University, where he walked onto the Wildcats hoop team. After beginning his career in Sarasota, Florida, Sager joined Turner Broadcasting System in 1981. An award-winning co-anchor of CNN Sports Tonight, Craig would become a fixture of Turner's NBA basketball coverage.
Welcome back. Congratulations for rewriting the record book once more. Thanks.
A vibrant personality with an animated wardrobe to match, Sager manned the microphone at 22 NBA drafts, 27 All-Star games, and covered the NBA playoffs for 30 years.
We love you, man. Thank you. Thank you.
The basketball community was saddened by his untimely passing in December of 2016. But NBA teams, players, and fans all paid tribute by acknowledging his joyous spirit, immense impact, and lifelong love of the game.
Please join me in recognizing the 2017 Curt Gowdy Award winner for electronic media, Craig Sager. Joining me on stage to accept the award on behalf of her late husband, please welcome Stacy Sager.
Wow, thank you, you guys. This is, first of all, I just want to say, Jerry, I feel the love. I feel this is a huge family. And thank you for welcoming Craig into this family. I definitely appreciate it. This is obviously a difficult thing for me to do, but Craig would want us to celebrate and have a party, and that's what we're going to do. So thank you. You know, the funny thing is, Craig wanted to be an airline pilot for the Air Force when he graduated high school. But instead, he was appointed to West Point. Well, those of you who know Craig, he wasn't very good with authority. So about 2 weeks at West Point, he packed up his bags and he was out of there. And we all know he ended up at Northwestern. So thought that was kind of funny that he wanted to be an airline pilot. I think that's why he likes to travel so much. So after Northwestern, when he decided that sports journalism was his life's work, after he graduated, he spent many months sending resume tapes all over the country. And remember, this is in the early 70s. There was no CNN or ESPN. And he didn't care how to get on TV, if it was news, weather, sports. But quickly, his mailbox filled up with rejection letters. And for 44 years, he kept every single one of those rejection letters, not as an incentive to better hone his craft, but instead to remind himself for all those who doubted him. So tonight, to have Craig's career and legacy preserved at the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame is a tremendous honor. Thank you. On behalf of Craig, Riley, and Ryan, our two children that are here tonight, and I offer sincere thank you to John and the Board of Trustees for finding his body of work on par with past recipients and teammates David Aldridge, Marv Alberts, Hubie Brown, Doug Collins, just to name a few. I know Craig would offer his gratitude to his beautiful mother, Coral, and his father, Big Al, for their love and direction. And to his second family and my family, Scooter, David Levy, Turner Sports, thank you for your love, your loyalty, support, and allowing Craig to be Craig. And to David Stern and Adam Silver, the NBA, her players, and the fans, Craig would give his heartfelt appreciation for allowing him to be part of your lives. And there's one more person whose memory must be recognized tonight for instilling in Craig the love of basketball fundamentals and a relentless work ethic. Dan Issel, you know who I'm talking about. Batavia High School coach Don Vandersnick. Coach Van prepared Craig for his legacy on the NBA sidelines. My husband's spirited approach to sports coverage, and for that matter, his colorful wardrobe, just exemplified the joy he brought to every game and every interview. This was a lesson he learned as a young boy watching his hero, Chicago Cubs all-star Ernie Banks, who, by the way, was a globetrotter. Anybody know that? Craig didn't want to be Ernie Banks, the baseball player. He wanted to be Ernie Banks, the man, which meant taking on his optimistic approach to life. Craig wanted to emulate his hero and live each day as a gift. That's it. That was the Craig we all knew, a lifelong optimist. Craig was passionate about his family, all sports, and a world without cancer. And tonight, not only do we recognize all that he's accomplished, but everything that is still to come. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, one of the strongest human beings on planet Earth, Stacy Sager. Stacy, we all miss Craig. We all loved Craig. And I just have this feeling, I'm sure you do, that he's in this room with us right now. Stacy Sager. And we want you to remain here on stage, Stacy, as we have a very special presentation from Tony Anzavino of the Hager Clothing Company. As we all know, Craig was noted for his sartorial splendor, just as Hager has created an iconic Naismith Orange Basketball Hall of Fame jacket. They have now created an iconic jacket to honor Craig Sager's legacy, representing his unique style. And because of his contributions, Hager is honoring him with a jacket that will be donated to the Sager Strong Foundation to raise money to fund clinical trials and cancer research for leukemia and other blood cancers. Hager has also created a second jacket to be on display here at the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. So please join me in thanking the folks at Hager for the generous gift of support for this extremely worthwhile cause. Stacy, thank you very much. God bless. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in one more round of applause for all of this evening's Hall of Fame award recipients. It's been an amazing night. At this time, I'd like to thank you all for coming out to the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. And once again, congratulations to the Hall of Fame class of 2017. We'll see you soon.